Ukraine will become a big Israel with its own face, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky declared this past Tuesday.
יגאל עמיר, רבי פופר.
יהודי שמתנהג כמו יהודי, ודאי יש יהודים שלא מתנהגים.
אוקיי, אבל רגע, מה שאני לא מבין, זה כל הגויים הם איך קוראים?
שנייה, אדוני.
בהמות.
אני יכול להגיד לך משהו?
אם אין להם ציווי.
אדם זה על שם הדמה לעליון. אדם זה יכול הדמה לאלוקים. אוקיי? זה פירוש אדם. אנחנו הפכנו את זה, זאת אומרת העם הפך את זה, והאדם בן אדם, כמו אתה בן אדם, אתה צריך להתנהג כמו בן אדם. אבל בעיקרון זה על שם עליון. אדם זה אדם אל העליון, וכיוון שאנחנו בנים של אלוקים, אז הוא קרא לנו בני אדם. עכשיו, הגויים מה שאין, כן? אלוקים עשה אותם בשביל שיעשו פה...
בשביל לשרת את היהודים.
Host of the Katie Halper Show and co-host of the Useful Idiots podcast, Katie Halper.
כל הגויים שאתה רואה שיש בעולם, המיליארדים האלה, הם הכל רק בשביל שהיהודים יהיה להם איזה תועלת.
עכשיו,
אנחנו לא רואים את זה, אנחנו לא יודעים בדיוק.
שנייה, כן, היות ואנחנו בגלות, אז אוטומטי עדיין הם עוד לא משרתים אותנו לגמרי, רק חלקית.
כל אחד יהיה לו, כשמשיח יבוא, אז כל אחד יהיה לו אלפים עבדים, 2,800 עבדים.
בינתיים, המשיח לא כאן, אז איך הם משרתים אותנו?
הם בונים לנו רכבים,
בסדר, לא יודעים.
דירות, בניינים, חשמל, הם בונים את זה. לנו, משרתים את היהודים.
אבל יש גם יהודים שעושים את זה.
Were I a Jew, I would be a Zionist. And my father pointed out to me, I did not need to be a Jew to be a Zionist, for I am. Israel is essential to the security of Jews worldwide.
I believe that the issue of the settlements is not the core of the conflict. Nor does it really drive the conflict. I think it's an issue. It has to be resolved in the context of peace negotiations. And I think we also are going to speak about it, President Trump and I, so we can arrive at an understanding, so we don't keep on bumping into each other all the time on this issue, and we're going to discuss this. On the question you said, you just came back with your question to the problem that I said. It's the label. What does Abu Mazen mean by two states, okay? What does he mean? A state that doesn't recognize the Jewish state, a state that basically is open for attack against Israel? You know, what are we talking about? Are we talking about Costa Rica, or are we talking about another Iran? So obviously it means different things. I told you what are the conditions that I believe are necessary for an agreement. It's the recognition of the Jewish state, and it's Israel's security control of the entire area. Otherwise, we're just fantasizing. Otherwise, we'll get another failed state, another terrorist Islamist dictatorship that will not work for peace, but work to destroy us, but also destroy any hope for a peaceful future for our people. So I've been very clear about those conditions, and they haven't changed. I haven't changed. If you read what I said 8 years ago, it's exactly that. And I repeated that again and again and again. If you want to deal with labels, deal with labels. I'll deal with substance. And finally, if I can respond to something that I know from personal experience. I've known President Trump for many years. And to allude to him, or to his people, his team, some of whom I've known for many years too. Can I reveal, Jared, how long we've known you? Well, he was never small. He was always big. He was always tall. But I've known the president, and I've known his family and his team for a long time. And there is no greater supporter of the Jewish people and the Jewish state than President Donald Trump. I think we should put that to rest.
Thank you very much. Very nice. I appreciate that very much.
No, he doesn't. His Excellencies, the Presidents, and the Secretary General.
Tamamını almanın hesabı gayreti içerisinde. Şu anda Trump efendi bunun gayreti içinde. Niye? Evangelist ve Siyonist bir mantığın ürünüdür şu andaki tablo. Bundan böyle taraf olan bir Amerika'nın artık İsrail-Filistin arasında arabuluculuk yapması diye bir şey söz konusu olamaz. Bu süreç artık bitmiştir.
Okay, so we have the Donald Trump coin, we have Cyrus, we have Donald Trump, here we have Cyrus, Balfour Trump Declaration. We have in Hebrew Sarat Koresh, Balfour Trump, and we have the temple which has spread.
A few months ago, President Donald Trump declared that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. The holy Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. We want to say thank you. We want to show our gratitude to that big declaration, and that's why we put President Donald Trump next to King Cyrus on our special coin.
Am Israel Chai, Am Israel, Am Israel, Am Israel Chai, Am Israel, Am Israel, Am Israel Chai, Am Israel, Am Israel, Am Israel Chai, Am Israel, Am Israel, Am Israel Chai, Am Israel, Am Israel, Am Israel Chai.
With tensions escalating in Ukraine over a possible Russian invasion, reports now say that the Israeli government is preparing to evacuate thousands of Ukrainian Jews who would want to immigrate to Israel. Representatives of various Israeli government offices, including the Prime Minister's office, the Foreign Minister, Defense Ministry, all met to discuss the situation. According to a report, some 75,000 people living in eastern Ukraine are now eligible for Israeli citizenship under the law of return. The 1950 law gives the Jews a right to relocate to Israel and acquire Israeli citizenship. Section 1 of the law states that every Jew has a right to come to Israel as an immigrant. Israel has for long had plans for mass evacuation of Jews from various countries should the need arise. It has updated plans for Ukraine due to the current situation. Many Ukrainians fled from the eastern side fearing a Russia-backed military conflict. And according to Israel's Aliyah and Integration Ministry, more than 30,000 people moved to Israel from Ukraine between 2014 and 2018.
Ukraine will become a big Israel with its own face, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky declared this past Tuesday. According to Haaretz, this statement indicates that his country intends to emulate the Israeli security state as a consequence of the Russian invasion.
Zelensky said such measures would not undercut Ukrainian democracy and, quote, an authoritarian state is impossible in Ukraine. Host of the Katie Halper Show and co-host of the Useful Idiots podcast, Katie Halper, joins us now to discuss. Welcome, Katie.
Thanks for having me.
And so what is he suggesting that Russian speakers would be second-class citizen? And like what parts
right.
of the Israeli system is he talking about emulating?
Right. Hopefully not an apartheid state. Hopefully an apartheid state would not be part of that. I want to be like Israel, I guess, in some ways. Like, I would love to get unlimited aid and be totally enabled by the United States to do whatever I wanted. But I do think that, what's interesting about his response is that he said that this was going to be, if you read his statement, he talks about having military in all institutions, supermarkets, cinemas. There will be people with weapons. And what's interesting about it is that, you can understand why he would say we have to have a military, but it's weird that he's creating this kind of uber weaponized culture, or that's what he's forecasting that he's going to create. I think he's probably signaling to an American audience, an Israeli audience, probably also the right-wing population in Ukraine, which he has to mollify. So it is a kind of weird way to frame it. Again, imagining people walking around with weapons in supermarkets and cinemas, which I guess you can do here in the United States, an open carry state, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't be too spooked with people just having weapons, but what I suspect he means is perhaps the compulsory military service aspect of it, which is not aspect that like Israel has that, right? And I is not something I would want here or in any nation, frankly.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because he's overtly saying it's not going to be a kind of liberal democracy that they see in Europe. And he said in his statement that it's not going to be Switzerland, it's going to be Israel. So he's obviously doesn't want neutrality. And I think, if you think of the optics of this, Israel it works for many levels because it also is, the Israel likes to present itself as this plucky underdog and kind of a David and Goliath story. Now, I don't know if Zelensky also plans to settle areas or, construct illegal settlements or colonize anyone. I'm hoping that that's not part of his vision.
Should everybody in the world become Jewish? Is that a utopian dream? No, it's not. God doesn't make mistakes. Back in the olden days, there were 70 nations, and God chose one nation to be Jewish. Obviously, that's enough. It would be really ridiculous to even suggest that the vast majority of human beings are not what they're meant to be. There are Jews and there are non-Jews, and that's how it must be. The world began with non-Jews. The human race, for the first 2,000 years, was purely non-Jews. And they were given commandments. The conclusion we have to come to is that as far as Earth is concerned, you don't need Jews. You certainly don't need to be Jewish. Now there's a question of how much of God can we introduce into the world? Judaism is about bringing more of God into the world.
Hitler didn't want to exterminate the Jews at the time, he wanted to expel the Jews. And Haj Amin al-Husseini went to Hitler and said, if you expel them, they'll all come here. So what should I do with them? He asked. He said, burn them. היטלר הוא אחראי לפתרון הסופי, להשמדת 6 המיליונים, הוא קיבל את ההחלטה.
And I say again, you need not be a Jew to be a Zionist. The fact is that since then, I've known every single prime minister, and it's been an honor. Formed strong working relations with each of them. And now, this is my 10th visit. Every chance to return to this great country, where the ancient roots of the Jewish people date back to biblical times, is a blessing. Because the connection between the Israeli people and the American people is bone deep. We invest in each other. We dream together.
Post-war development will see a fundamental transformation of Ukraine's economy towards green, energy-efficient, and low-carbon technologies. The effective reuse of facilities after the exhibition has closed its doors is a challenge that expos share with most major public events the world over. For these reasons, we believe the expo of the future is the one where nothing is wasted. Following the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by the United Nations, Odessa Expo 2030 will widen the concept to embrace economic and social sustainability, implementing strategies that tackle energy efficiency whilst improving education and spurring economic growth for the city and the region. The site for Expo 2030 is on the last large plot of land available in the center of the city of Odessa. Thanks to this unique location, Expo will be quickly accessible and fully integrated within the city's vibrant life. Visitors will be able to reach the site in 25 minutes journey from the airport and railway station, 15 minutes from the seaport. 20 minutes journey from Expo will allow them to enjoy the
You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist, and I'm a Zionist. I got in trouble, got criticized very badly by the southern part of my state and some of the southern parts of the country when 35 years ago I said, you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist, and I'm a Zionist. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. Folks, were there no Israel, there wouldn't be a Jew in the world that was safe. Were there no Israel. I make no bones about it. I've had my differences with some Israeli leadership. I've known Bibi for now 51 years. He has a picture on his desk of he and I when he was a young member of the Israeli service here, foreign service. And I was a 32-year-old senator. And I wrote on the top of it, Bibi, I love you, but I don't agree with the damn thing you had to say. It's about the same today. I love him.